On October 3, 1955, the MV Joyita set out from Apia Harbor in Samoa, bound for the Tokelau Islands. On board were 25 people, including a government official, a doctor, and 2 young children, alongside a 16-member crew. The ship's cargo seemed ordinary: sacks of sugar, rice, flour, oil drums, and construction materials. It was just another routine voyage, or so it seemed. But before the MV Joyita even left harbor, things started to go wrong. A critical engine clutch had failed, leaving them to rely on just one engine. Captain Thomas Miller, confident in his experience, decided to proceed. The sea seemed calm, and the journey was routine. Yet, what would follow was anything but ordinary. Weeks later, the MV Joyita would be found, drifting hundreds of miles off course, its deck eerily empty, its passengers and crew vanished without a trace. What happened to the 25 souls aboard? And what terrifying forces could have driven them to abandon their ship? In this video, we'll dive into the haunting mystery of the MV Joyita and explore the disturbing clues left on that ghostly vessel. The journey should have taken only 48 hours, yet when the MV Joyita didn't arrive on schedule, there were no distress calls, no sightings, and no explanations. The New Zealand Air Force initiated a massive search on October 6th, just 3 days after the ship's expected arrival. They scanned over 260,000 square kilometers of ocean, but found nothing. No wreckage, no bodies, no sign of life. Weeks passed, and hope dwindled. Then, on November 10th, 1955, Captain Gerald Douglas of the MV Tuvalu spotted something strange. A vessel, drifting alone at a 45-degree angle off the coast of Fiji, nearly 970 kilometers from its intended course. It was the MV Joyita, a ghost ship. The ghost ship Discovery Captain Gerald Douglas and his crew spotted the MV Joyita drifting aimlessly in the Pacific Ocean. From a distance, the ship looked like it had been through a rough time, but nothing could have prepared them for what they were about to find. As they got closer, they noticed the ship's windows were broken, the bridge was badly damaged, and the entire vessel seemed worn out, as if it had been through a storm or worse. When they finally boarded the Joyita, an eerie silence greeted them. The ship was empty. Not a single crew member or passenger was there. The more they searched, the stranger things became. The cargo hold, which should have been full, was completely empty. The lifeboats and dinghies were missing, along with important navigational tools. The captain's logbook, which could have explained what happened, was gone. Even a handgun that was supposed to be on board had disappeared. Inside, they found something chilling: a doctor's bag with medical supplies, including bandages stained with blood. This was a clear sign that someone had been injured, but who it was and what happened to them remained a mystery. The ship's radio, tuned to the international distress frequency, seemed to show that someone had tried to call for help, but it wasn't working, leaving the crew stranded without a way to send out a distress signal. Then there was the strangest clue of all. The clocks on board had stopped at exactly 10:25. No one could figure out if that was the time when the disaster struck, or just a coincidence. Despite many investigations, the mystery of the MV Joyita was never solved. The ship was left drifting with no answers, becoming one of the sea's greatest unsolved mysteries. To this day, people still wonder what happened to the crew and passengers, and the story of the Joyita remains a haunting tale of the unknown investigations and clues. After the MV Joyita was discovered adrift on November 10, 1955, investigators conducted a detailed examination of the vessel to piece together the events that led to the disappearance of its 25 passengers and crew. The ship was found partially flooded and listing to one side, but it remained afloat thanks to its cork-lined hull, which made it unsinkable. A thorough inspection revealed that the engines were completely inoperable due to a broken pipe in the cooling system, which had caused them to overheat. Additionally, the auxiliary pump, which could have been used to drain the rising water, was improperly connected, leaving it useless during the emergency. One of the most critical findings was that the ship's radio was set to the international distress frequency, suggesting an attempt had been made to call for help. However, the antenna wire was broken, meaning no distress signal could have been transmitted. This failure left the crew without any means of communication. The ship's clocks had stopped, likely due to a power failure, and its navigation lights were off. Lifeboats and dinghies were missing, indicating that the passengers and crew abandoned the ship, though no evidence suggested they were forced to leave. Food, water, and most of the cargo were still on board, which puzzled investigators, as it showed there was no immediate threat of starvation or dehydration. Dark stains, believed to possibly be blood, were found on the deck and near a canvas awning, raising questions about whether violence had occurred. However, no other clear signs of a struggle, such as damaged interiors or overturned furniture, were discovered. The weather records from the time indicated that rough seas were present in the region during the ship's voyage, which could have added to the challenges faced by the crew. Investigators theorized that the combination of engine failure, flooding, and rising panic led the passengers and crew to abandon the ship prematurely. If they believed the vessel was sinking, despite its unsinkable design, they might have launched lifeboats in haste. Rough sea conditions could have caused the small boats to capsize, leading to the presumed loss of everyone on board. While there were also speculations of violence or piracy, the lack of stolen cargo or definitive evidence of a conflict weakened these theories. Ultimately, despite the detailed investigation, the fate of the MV Joyita's passengers and crew remains an enduring mystery. The ship's condition provided tantalizing clues, but no concrete answers, leaving the case one of the most haunting unsolved maritime incidents in history. So what happened to the MV Joyita and its passengers? Many theories have been proposed, but each raises more questions than answers. Some believe the ship was hit by a rogue wave, seaquake, or waterspout. Such an event could have damaged the bridge and injured crew members, explaining the bloody bandages. But why abandon a perfectly buoyant ship in dangerous waters? Another theory suggests foul play, either a mutiny or a pirate attack. With a damaged engine, MV Joyita was vulnerable. Could pirates have boarded, forcing the crew and passengers to flee? Or was there a mutiny, and some of the crew took control? However, there is no evidence to support either scenario. Captain Miller was known for his confidence. Some might say recklessness. According to former crew members, he could be dismissive and sometimes careless. Was his decision to leave the harbor on a faulty engine part of a series of poor judgments that led to disaster? Given the flooding, some theorize that the crew believed the MV Joyita was sinking and took to the lifeboats in panic. But experts have pointed out that staying aboard would have been safer, as the ship's cork lining made it nearly unsinkable. And where did the lifeboats, life jackets, and the 25 souls disappear to? To this day, the mystery of the MV Joyita haunts maritime history. With no distress call, no bodies, and no evidence, the true fate of the 25 people on board remains unknown. Was it an unfortunate accident, a deadly decision, or something far darker? The MV Joyita may hold the answers deep within its battered hull, but for now, the Pacific keeps its secrets. So, what do you think happened to the souls aboard the MV Joyita?